It has been close to a month, but we are finally here. It is Bowl Week. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Duke Football Talk Section 17 podcast. I'm back. I'm your host, Brian Kennedy, alongside my co-hosts Josh Cox, Scott Medlin, and Jamie Holt. And as of this recording, we are 4 days away from one of the biggest bowl games in Duke program history, as Duke will head down to Jacksonville, actually already down in Jacksonville, to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. We got a lot to get to. We're going to talk Ole Miss. We're going to talk mailbag. We're going to talk tell the tape. It's back. We're going to give our predictions for this upcoming week's game. And of course, we're going to close things down. But before we do all that, for the final time this season, I should say, we're going to pay the bills. And it's been a fun run with all of our sponsors. But let's just get right into it. Let's thank you. Big thanks to Matt Bliven. He was our ticket giveaway sponsor this season. He was great, was at a lot of the games, a lot of the tailgates, had a great time. He's actually going to be at the Gator Bowl with us. He's going to be staying with us in our Airbnb. But as always, Matt's a Durham native, Duke fan, as I stated, and he's ready to tackle any questions you might have or any opportunity that you want to discuss when it comes to the real estate market. He's super knowledgeable. He's on top of current real estate trends, and he has all your home needs covered. Now, look, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest, or build in the Triangle, give Matt a call, 919-323-0527, or email him at mlb@nestrealty.com. And I will say, I believe Matt got a lead from our podcast, so I mean, it all works out in the end. He sponsors us, and he gets the lead. Josh, who else do we need to thank?
There we go. We're looking forward to seeing Matt down in Jacksonville. And Matt did sponsor a ticket giveaway for the bowl game. And so he reached out to you if you're listening. He got, I think there were 2 tickets that he gave away to that. And so just appreciate his generosity throughout the entire year. But then, of course, if you have a home, you need to make sure that home stays warm this winter. And so that's where our friends at Hometown Air come in. The team there has 25 plus years experience in the HVAC world, and they are bringing their advanced knowledge to the residential side. So we want to encourage you to get a service contract. Those service contracts will allow you to keep your units running smoothly and efficiently throughout the entire year. If you mention the Section 17 podcast, they will give you $17 off your first year service contract. You can visit them at hometownairnc.com, and they service the Triangle, the greater Triangle area. So that's hometownairnc.com. And then finally, our vintage brand gear, homefieldapparel.com. I gifted 3 of my relatives home field apparel gear this year from homefieldapparel.com. You can find anything you want there. They've got some really awesome looking sweaters that just hit. They've got, all different types of pullovers, jackets, long sleeve, short sleeve, hoodies, whatever you need. They've got it. They got a great selection of Duke gear as well. And here's what we want you to do. Go to homefieldapparel.com, enter the code section 17, and you'll receive 15% off your first order. That's at homefieldapparel.com. And those guys, by the way, give them a shout out. They are Indianapolis based company. They are big Indiana Hoosiers fans. And while the Hoosiers didn't get the result they wanted, they did make history in making the college football playoff and having a showing. Probably not their best showing, but had a showing. And hey, kudos to them for making the playoff. Can't hate on them. So anyway, it's homefieldapparel.com. Thank you to all of our sponsors, Brian.
The kick still wasn't good from the pinstripe ball. I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's right.
That was something I saw on Twitter where, tell me something that you experienced in your life that you wish you could redo. And Indiana fans were posting that kick that the ref said was no good. And that's the case. Okay. So it's Gator Bowl week. This is probably one of the biggest bowl games for Duke football in the history of the program. It is the latest that Duke will be playing in a bowl game since the 2013 Chick-fil-A Bowl, where 3 of the 4 of us were there, playing old Johnny Manziel and the Aggies of Texas A&M. But we want to just get right into it. Let's get into it. The mailbag. Let's see. We had another request for mailbag questions, and as always, you fans did not let us down. This is our last mailbag. Well, might be our last mailbag. We might do one for the season finale. So we'll say maybe. But Jamie, as always, thank you for getting all the questions compiled together. Let's get rocking and rolling. What's our first question?
All right, I thought this was a good one to start with, and this comes from @Blade4Duke, who asks us questions pretty regularly. Based on each team's narrative for the regular season, who has the most to prove? I don't know about y'all. I think this is pretty obvious. Lane Kiffin has pretty much put himself into a corner here. I feel like they almost have to win, and Duke is one of those situations where we got nothing to lose. So if Duke wins, we talked about it before we come on the podcast. If Duke wins, we're starting a war with the entire SEC. Just no questions asked. We're bringing it to Vanderbilt, Alabama, Georgia, whoever. Doesn't care. Doesn't matter.
We'll kick Tennessee while they're down because they're getting destroyed by the rest of the SEC. Yeah, no, I'm with you, and we'll catch some strays with our fellow ACC brethren too. What are we 1-9 as a conference right now, or something like that? So just stupid. But yeah, I agree with you, Jamie. I mean, Kiffin, everything I love about Lane Kiffin, I do love the fact that man will just get on Twitter and literally go unfiltered, for whatever. But he also, like you said, he puts himself in a difficult position because he's got to back up all that talk. And so they definitely have the most to prove. They need this win. Number one, they would get double-digit wins, which would, still means something at Ole Miss. But then also, this is their argument to being in the college football playoff. And so, yeah, he has a lot to prove. But hey, listen, Manny Diaz has proven his team will be ready. This Packy defense will be ready. We'll get to our predictions later. But yeah, the pressure is on Ole Miss, no doubt.
Yeah, agreed. And we were talking about this before the recording started. I could see Lane Kiffin being Lane Kiffin and trying to run the score up on this game just so right after his post-game press conference, he can pick his phone up and say, hey, CFP, look what we just did. There's no reason why we should have been in this bowl game.
What makes you think he would wait till after his post-game presser?
That is true.
That is what he will say on the field after as
that is true. That is true. Yeah, I forgot. Lane doesn't hold back, but yeah, and just remember, this is a Duke team, and I've said it all season long, that no one gave any chance to even be in this position that they're in right now. Again, most of the critics, most of the writers, most of the predictions had Duke winning at most 4 games, maybe 5 if the cards fell the right way, but no one had this team being 9-3 and playing in Jacksonville. So it's all on Ole Miss. I would say Jackson Dart as well, because if he does play, which all attentive news articles say that he is going to play, he's got a lot to prove to NFL scouts because he should be going to the NFL after this. And the QB room for the NFL draft is pretty heightened this year.
I would say Joey Freshwater and the boys from Ole Miss. Listen, if it gets to the midway through the third quarter and it's tight, there's going to be a lot of light blue sphincters getting tight over there on the other side. Duke fans, man, we're just rolling. This is our chance. This is our Super Bowl. Last year we kind of had fun and joked about the Super Bowl being for Troy there in Birmingham. This is Duke's Super Bowl. I mean, we're coming with what we got. Duke's going to play their game. Manny has a plan. We're going to leave it out on the field. If Ole Miss wins, hey, congratulations. Great job, Lane. You still didn't win another national title, so suck on it, big boy.
Honestly, suck on it, big boy. Nice. Honestly, this game feels a lot like the Chick-fil-A Bowl to me. I don't think, even though Duke had an ACC championship game appearance that year, I don't remember many pundits giving Duke much of a chance in that game. Matter of fact, I think there were a lot of people picking a blowout. And while Duke didn't win, obviously, with me, Josh, and Scott were there to witness it, they left it all out there, and it was a hell of a performance. And I kind of expect that from Duke down at the Gator Bowl as well. Whether or not, I'm not going to give up my prediction now, but whether or not we win or not, I feel like Duke is going to show up, and they will play well. At the Duke of QP. Who is Beelan's backup and why is his name Jomo? I thought that was funny. But we got another backup, Josh. What was this? Brewer.
We do, and I have to give a shout out to the Duke of QP. We've already tweeted this, but came home from being out of town for Christmas and had some QP mayo at my door. And the Duke will be down in Jacksonville. We'll be able to meet the Duke in person. This is the second time he's gifted us, and so he hooked us up with a portable grill the first time, and then got the QP mayo. And so a shout out to the Duke. But yeah, I'm glad you asked. I was actually just pulling it up. Henry Beelan's backup will be a guy by the name of Cole Kennan. Cole Kennan is a graduate transfer student, 6'3", 219, went to Middlebury College. And yeah, I mean, he's not bad, man. Not bad. Threw 42 career touchdowns in 16 starts and 20 career games. That's not bad at all, actually. And, rushes the ball, not really much on the rushing game. But I have heard that he is pretty athletic. That's what I've heard from inside the program. And I've also heard not to be shocked if you don't see him out there for maybe a series or certain packages. And so, the unknown there is what I love. I mean, honestly, Henry's kind of an unknown. I mean, if you're an Ole Miss fan, like, you look at like what the one game last year that Henry played in, and you're like, whoa, this guy was like, didn't throw the ball and, whatever. So there's a lot of unknowns going into the game. But Cole Kennan being the backup would definitely be an unknown. And then to get this off of the table here, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Jordan Moore plays quarterback in this game. Duke would run Wildcat with Jaquez and Peyton and all that before it would be Jordan Moore. Jordan Moore, you're lucky. Duke fans, you are fortunate and lucky that Jordan Moore is playing in this game, much less putting himself in a situation to get hurt playing quarterback. So this is a guy who played injured, over half the season this year, who's given his all for Duke and who's playing in this bowl game as a wide receiver, obviously, and, understanding that he's got an NFL future ahead. So you will not see Jordan Moore unless it's like a trick play. That would be my feedback there. Anybody else with any comments on the QB room?
I think
did anybody hear two of our QBs at the portal? I don't know if anybody knew that.
Yeah. Oh, what was his name? It was Malik. What?
I'm 100% sure one of them is going to Charlotte.
Yeah.
The other one, stay tuned.
He signed.
Did he?
He signed with Oregon.
He signed. He did.
Up until yesterday, he hadn't. So.
No, he did. He ended up signing. So Jamie, no, he verbally committed, but then he hadn't signed yet.
Right. Yeah.
But he has signed.
He's signed now.
Yeah.
Good luck to.
I mean, is that a question, Jamie? Are we getting a question about that?
No. Well, I tell you what, right here, Brian Scott Owens off of Facebook says how many opt-outs / portal roster changes do they have versus how many we have? And we haven't heard much of anything from them. Like last I heard, Jackson Dart was playing. And Josh, you had ours.
For Duke, I mean, you've got Malik Murphy and Grayson Loftus. You got Carter Wyatt. You got Montrez Smith. And you got Star Thomas, 5 scholarship players that have entered the portal. Carter Wyatt is definitely at the in Jacksonville with the team, so I'm assuming he's going to play. Obviously, Grayson and Malik are not going to play. I'm assuming Star is not going to play, even though unless you guys saw something I didn't see, I didn't necessarily see Star make like an official announcement that he wasn't going to play. But I'm assuming he's not playing. I have no idea. And then I'm assuming Montrez isn't playing because he's already committed. So I think Ball State or something like that. And then for them, I will read you something from their message boards. Did a little bit of message board diving. Let's see here. Or did I? Oh, yeah, it's over here. Let's see here. It looks like Linebacker Chris Paul Jr. Did not know Chris Paul Jr. there. Has opted out. Trey Harris and Walter Nolan are both declared for the draft. There's a potential that Walter Nolan will play. Logan Diggs, this is interesting. Logan Diggs, who has not played all season due to an ACL tear last year at LSU, actually may potentially play in this game because it doesn't count against his games and his eligibility. That's something to look at. But there have been 14 players outside of those that have entered the transfer portal from Ole Miss. Running back Matt Jones, defensive back Jaden Kennedy are ones that they mentioned specifically. I'm not going to pretend like I know their roster, really well, but we've had 5 transfer. They've had 14, and then there's some other guys that are sitting out. So,
I
see.
don't know this guy if he's important to the team or not. Micah Davis, wide receiver, kick returner. He entered the portal today.
Okay.
So again, I don't know any stats on Ole Miss players. Sorry, but
And
I just saw that.
They had an offensive lineman that entered the portal come back.
Yeah, Cam East. He just withdrew his name today as well.
And Jackson Dart, he entered the draft, correct?
He did, but he's supposedly playing. Yeah, he declared.
That's what I heard. Yeah, they said he was going to play. Yeah,
but the new trend started yesterday. He might play a half, and at halftime decide to opt out. So that's on the table now. We've got a new trend starting. Thanks, Cam Ward.
Could happen. He says Brian Scott Owens again. He says a fun question. When we win, can we tear the goalpost down and carry it to the nearby St. Johns River? I'm pretty sure that's probably no. Probably we would get arrested, maybe. I'm not. Noah might do it. I think Noah might do it.
Hey, I just thought of this. Which one of us could take a taser shot the best? That is something to think about.
I would offer Scott.
I'm allergic to pain. I'm going to tell you that right now.
If we all no. And this is something. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment. If all 4 of us got tased, which one of us would take the taser shot the best?
Dude, if I took a taser shot, I would break my neck likely. I would probably just fall.
I'm already seeing the scene in Hangover 3 where they do the tasers. The face. Yeah, I'm not seeing that working out well.
So I think by default I'm going to win this because you got Scott said he's allergic to pain. Jamie trips upstairs. Brian, when he gets anything, gets the worst case of it, right? So, Brian has never had, a mild case of whatever it is. It's like, if Brian has a toe fungus, it's all 10 of his toes. So, I don't know
Gangrene.
why. Yeah, Brian's like, man, my toe was itching, and the next day I had to chop my foot off. But no. So, I think maybe I could take the taser. I have a little bit of a high pain tolerance until I don't. That's the way I look at it. I'm good until I hit my threshold, and then I turn into a baby. So,
I'm gonna leave this out there. One time, I walked through some tear gas at Duke Hospital, just walking through the main lobby of Duke Hospital, and I almost died. So, I could tell you, the taser, I probably would die.
And that is where the abbreviation FFS was started.
Yeah. All right. One more from Brian Owens. More satisfying, Midnight Rider choking away a bowl victory, or the school 8 miles down the road getting smoked by UConn. And I don't know about y'all, but for me, it's always UNC losing. I'm kind of over old Mike. I think we got the better end of the deal there. I think we're good to go with Manny and set up for several years. So
yeah, it was very, what's the word? Not rewarding, but it was just so good to see the team in shambles. You had someone that was an interim coach that shouldn't have been an interim coach in Freddie Kitchens. You had multiple. I saw this. They had more penalty yards than offensive yards in the first half. UNC did. It was just music to my ears. And my wife, who's a UNC fan, we were watching the game, and she was even just like, this is just embarrassing. I don't even know what to say. She didn't want to watch the game, but I made her. But it could all change, obviously, next year with Big Bill coming in. But, yeah, I'll take a UNC loss all day long. And if you didn't see my tweet, Duke's last bowl win was last year. UNC's last bowl win was 2017. So it's been a little while for the Tar Heels.
Well, Hayden, they just changed their name. It's not CHC anymore. It's CBC. And one other thing for the record, our friend Michael Elko, he got KC Concepcion on his team now. So there you go. He's a winner automatically because Bill didn't get him.
Yeah, once again, I'll let Elko have all of them. Like, look, Elko can bleed that Chapel College roster dry too if he wants to. Like, go ahead. We don't have nothing to mess with Elko about unless we face him in a playoff game or a bowl game. So whatever he does is whatever he does. And I fell asleep and didn't watch the Texas A&M game anyway. So I woke up the next morning and saw they had lost. So the Carolina game I was following very closely. And,
he's trying to figure out how to stop the forward pass, in his words. I haven't seen him that frustrated in a long time.
Yeah. Mike doesn't get frustrated. What are you talking about?
Never seen it. Bentley Weeks. How much do we see the offense changing for Beelan, and is this the type of offense we will see next year with Mensa? And a similar question from Scott Lambley off of Facebook. Do you think we will be a slower, grinded out, run heavy pace team, or does the offense basically stay the same?
Well, it ain't going to stay the same. Because, and I say this to Malik Murphy's credit. Henry Beelan is not that's not the kind of quarterback he is. He's not that style quarterback. Henry is a dual threat quarterback. He will run the football. He enjoys, making plays with his legs. He doesn't mind taking a hit, all those types of things. So I think if you're trying to look glass half full here, you're thinking like as far as the skill set, Henry maybe has the skill set that would fit more naturally with what Brewer has wanted to do all along. Now, whether that comes out in like success on the football field during a bowl game, no idea. But I don't think we run. I don't listen. If we think we're going to sit here and run the ball against that defensive line, and we couldn't run the ball against freaking Wake Forest, like that ain't gonna happen. We didn't run the ball for the last 5 games of the season, so that's going to be tough. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, since you were mentioning rushing and defenses and stuff, just be prepared, folks. Ole Miss has the second best rushing defense in the country, only allowing 83 yards a game. So if Duke's going to win this game, it's got to be in the air.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you're going to see some, I think Brewer's going to get in his bag a little bit here. You're going to have to see Henry get out of the pocket. I love plays where your quarterback's rolling to his strong side and he has the option, that tight end dump off or that crossing route, or he can run. I would love to see us do some of that early, just to kind of get Henry, get him in the game, maybe let him get hit. If he runs a little bit, wake him up. Riley, we always used to say about Riley, he needs to get hit early because it wakes him up and he plays better. So it'll be interesting, but I do think, it's not going to be the same. Henry Beelan is not going to be just standing back there throwing bombs or throwing first read slant routes. That's what Malik Murphy did all season. We're not doing that. I don't think. If we do, I'll be shocked. I think there's going to be much more creativity, and Henry's going to give Coach Brewer a little bit more flexibility there in the play calling.
I would say this: I'm as excited as everybody else is for 7:30 Thursday night to see how it starts and how it goes. Because honestly, we don't know. He's played 2 plays this season. Henry has. So hey, it's going to be new for everybody. But again, we've got to go into it looking as I would say glass half full, just because got to stay positive, got to give ourselves chances to do something. And I think, like Josh said, Brewer's going to be in his bag here. I think this is exactly going to work. I think this is exactly the way he wants things to go. So hopefully it follows suit.
So following up with that, Lane Phipps actually basically what we were just talking about, Brewer being in his bag. He said Brewer is for sure going to have to dip into his bag for this one, and he wants to know how many trick plays, if any, do we think we'll see from Duke this game? I'm guessing we're going to see something. like what Josh said, Brewer's going to have to dip into his bag. He's going to have to get Henry rolling out, maybe a double pass, maybe flea flicker type stuff. I mean, I think the bowl game is the time.
Yeah, no, it is the time to do it. You got nothing to lose. As we mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, the pressure is all on Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. Duke has nothing to lose. This is a bonus for Duke if Duke wins this game. I would actually say more so than us maybe seeing some wide receiver pass or something from Jomo or something like that. I think we may see like a fake punt, which I don't think. Did we even attempt a fake punt this whole season? I don't think we did. If we did, I don't believe we were successful. But Cade Riddleson does have that style where like sometimes he rolls out to the right and holds the ball a little bit longer and does that like the more Australian type football punt or whatever. I could see on a 4th and maybe 5 or less, us rolling that out and then seeing if he's got an opening or can throw it there. So I think if you're going to see some trickery, it might be in special teams more than it would be just a regular offensive play. But I do think you're going to see some creativity and hopefully, and I think we'll see it from them too. And hopefully we're ready for it.
And honestly, this weekend, and Scott could probably back me up, there was at least 3 teams I saw execute pretty awesome fake punts. Like one guy threw a dart. I forget which game it was. Like
I forget what
I was like, this guy played quarterback at some point.
I mean, that was a great throw. The guy hit him in stride, and the returner didn't even get over there fast enough. Dude caught it about the 3 and walked into the end zone. It was great.
Yeah. So we saw several fake punts this weekend, and the games, by the way, were very entertaining this weekend for the most part. Extremely entertaining bowl games. So hopefully that continues. At Duke FB fans _.
Hey, one thing real quick. One thing before we get to Jordan's. One thing I would just keep an eye out on for Duke is like the same number guys. So like I don't know that this is applicable, but Kamari Robinson is a reserve cornerback that wears number 5. I don't know if he is on our punt team, but let's just use that as a for instance. Let's say he's on the punt team. Well, guess what? Peyton Jones is also number 5. So like if Kamari Robinson was playing in that up man spot, it could very easily be Peyton Jones and the team not even know that the running back Peyton Jones is right there on a 4th and 3 or 4. So I just use that as an example. I don't believe that's a good one because I'm not sure Kamari's there, but like there is that number thing. And I know that forget who it was. I think it was Notre Dame. I think the former quarterback, Tyler Buckner, that went to Alabama and came back. Whatever number he wears is the same number as their holder for their extra points. And so they were talking about being able to run a fake with a quarterback as their and then not even know it potentially. So like anyway, that's just something to think about.
All right. Yeah, Jordan at Duke FB fans _ says, who gets the aux in the car on the way down? So Jordan's going with us to Jacksonville. So
aux, what is this? 1994? Who uses an aux cord anymore, Jordan?
Who gets the tape deck?
Yeah, who gets the tape deck?
Hey, speaking of that,
who gets the Walkman?
Speaking of that, Jordan says, if we are listening to Christian music, I am walking. And he added Joshua Cox.
That's going to be a long trip for him if he does.
I told him I was going to tune up some Amy Grant, so we'll be ready.
I was going to say that I think Josh is more of a Melissa Etheridge guy now.
Well,
we'll leave that at that.
We'll leave it. Let's go, Jamie. Let's go.
This episode brought to you by
only those that know me well will get that. That's good.
Oh, Lord.
That's good.
Oh, Lord.
Actually, I'll follow up that question with a question. Right. And what is it, 7 hours? I think is what we said it was from,
about 6
from where we're going to work. All right. How much will we listen to Theo Vaughn while we're riding?
Bro, we were listening to Theo. That's how we're.
See, I knew the answer. I knew that was going to be the answer. That's why I asked it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Theo Vaughn is definitely going to happen. Let's see what else we got. We got Theo Vaughn. We may do a little bit of we might do a little bit of Rogan. We may do depends on what Rogan's
Undertaker.
On.
The Undertaker.
I'll have to find that one.
6 feet under. Yeah, absolutely.
6 feet under. And then, on the playlist, we might do some like 90s, late 90s, early 2000s hip hop. I could be down for that.
I'm guessing between all of us except for Josh at least most of us will have a headphone in listening to something on top of everything else going on, because there's going to be some chatter for the whole time. It'll be whatever gets listened to will not be fully listened to.
We need to just record the drive down there. I think that would be entertaining. Just record our conversations on the way down. But it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. We got Jordan making the drive down with us, staying with us as well. So, yeah.
So
man,
we would do our Impractical Jokers thing, basically.
That's right.
There we go.
The problem with doing Impractical Jokers live, out in the general public, is you don't have a team of producers to come up behind you and say, "Oh, they're just joking around." Like, it's all good. Like, we get punched in the face. So,
First stop is the Big Beaver.
That's right. Old Bucky's.
Brisket by 10 a.m. Everyone's welcome.
At Timothy 08731120. He wants to know, which player on Ole Miss are we most concerned about? I think that's an easy one for me. And y'all all might say the same thing, but it's Jackson Dart for me. Anybody else want to chime in with anything else they can?
Probably Lane Kiffin, because he's going to try some crazy shit to get his point across. I could see him pulling something out of his bag that he hasn't done all season long.
I'm going to say the defensive line, Jared Ivey, 7 sacks on the season. Princely, I cannot pronounce his last name, 10.5 sacks on the season. Linebacker, Sunderine Perkins, 10.5 sacks on the season. That's where I'm looking, man. I'm looking on that defensive side of the ball, that line, the pass rush. And so just keep like I said, the names I'll give you would be Jared Ivey, Princely Uman. I may have done that really, really bad. Walter Nolan, Sunderine Perkins. Those guys, all of those 4 guys have at least 6.5 sacks on the season. That's pretty impressive.
And I will say this could be, this whole Jackson Dart thing could still be some gamesmanship from Lane Kiffin. Like, who knows is he really going to play? He did enter into the draft. He may play, and that would be, to me, that would be awesome. I would welcome that, to see a guy play even after he entered into the draft. That would be pretty awesome. But, as Brian mentioned, their run defense is stout, absolutely stout. They were a little bit susceptible through the air, but you got to get past all the guys that are rushing the quarterback to get to that point. So it's going to be a tough matchup.
52nd best pass defense in the country, giving up 230 yards a game.
So not that susceptible. They were okay through the air. They were not bad, but that's the way you're going to beat them, if you're going to beat them, because run defenses, they were top 5, top 10. 2. Okay, that's even worse. But we didn't really run the ball that well all year anyway, so we're good. At KA_banker, our guy Philip Wood, he wants to know best places to eat in Jacksonville, seafood especially. And I was going to say, I saw Clint Wall, and if I'm not saying your last name right, let me know. Obviously, sometimes I mispronounce names, like me and Brian. He said in our Facebook group, Dockside was the best local seafood spot. And I've seen multiple votes for Metro Diner as well.
Yeah,
and
I think we're going to be at the Metro Diner probably right on that Thursday morning. We'll probably be at the Metro Diner. You can come see your boys.
And I was going to reference the post Noah Lunsford made in our Facebook group too, from Zach Smith. So he listed a ton of places to visit while you're in Jacksonville. If you're down there for several days, we're only going to be down there for 2 days, but we'll try to visit a few of the places.
Party at Zach's place? Zach's parents' place.
Yeah, crash Zach's parents' place.
All right. At Bob 5606-205-13426. How do you think our run game will look? We just talked about this without Start Thomas. He said he thought he really fell off kind of after the UNC game, so maybe it's better with Moore and Jones.
And this is y'all know we're Star Thomas. We love Star Thomas. Appreciate what he did. Jacquez Moore was RB1 heading into the season. he is the best running back on that roster. And so, I mean, if he's healthy, stays healthy, he is healthy now. Like, I'm completely cool with Jock Westmore coming in as RB1 and Peyton Jones, getting some some run too. So, like, I think we're fine as far as the personnel. It's just a matter of can we block that defensive line. So the running backs are the least of the worries, in my opinion, about the actual run game. It's more of can we do something with that defensive line and open up some holes.
All right. Sorry for the throat clear. Regina Lee wants to know if I like the Angus barn and what's my favorite cut. Bone in.
No, Regina, why? Why did you?
I'm not gonna trash the Angus barn, but my favorite is still the Peddler Steakhouse. But the Angus barn's got great ribs, and ribeye is always the favorite cut for sure.
Oh wait, whoa! We're not just gonna let you talk, Jamie. Come on now.
God, this
Hey,
is
she was asking about
me.
Jamie. She was asking about me. It's obvious.
Regina, since you didn't ask about me, I'm still going to give you my answer. No, the best thing at Angus Barn, this is just a public service announcement. Jamie alluded to it. The best thing to order at the Angus Barn are the beef ribs. They're massive. It's more food than you can eat. And then the best thing about the Angus Barn, I got to give it credit. I think you guys would agree. It's really about the experience and the ambiance and everything else that they do there, and than it is the actual, steak and food. So
yeah, the atmosphere is what they're known for. It's funny because one of our friends, Kevin Jones, he's a big NASCAR guy. His driver drove from Charlotte just to have dinner back on like December 15th. So the Angus Barn is a nationally well-known restaurant. But I think it's more for the experience more than the food, just my 2 cents. People will argue it's the experience and the food, but teach his own. But yeah, ribeye is the best cut. Prime rib is my second favorite cut.
Shout out.
Let me tell you what to do with that prime rib, Brian. Get the prime rib and then have them sear it on the grill, and still give you the au jus with it. I'm telling you, man.
I need it blackened still.
Shout out to Kevin Jones, because it was, what was it, 2 years ago when I started an absolute war in our I think it was the group chat with our fantasy football.
Oh, it was not pretty. It was not pretty at all.
And to people that know me, it's no surprise that I would start a war over Angus Barn when I called it trash. I didn't mean it. It's not trash. It's still good food. I just prefer the Peddler.
Angus Barn is where was it like a few years ago? Peyton Manning went and left like a major tip, and then the waiter took a picture of it, and he got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, anyway.
All right, and we got Regina coming in again. How does the Bolitologist feel about his very accurate predictions this year?
Look, I do a lot of research behind the scenes. I'm just happy that I was somewhere in the ballpark of predicting the majority of the ACC bowl games. I think I went 11 for 13 this year. But like I said, year one I did it, I was perfect across the board. And I was like, I can't set my standard, because the very next year I got very humbled last year. I will say this. It was stressful. I was at an event with my family, and I was texting this group. I was texting our photographer, Tyler, Jordan, Mann, everyone, because we kept seeing it's going to be the Holiday Bowl. It's probably going to be the Holiday Bowl. The Gator Bowl doesn't want Duke. The Gator Bowl's like, shout out to the Gator Bowl. I think they kind of just threw a curveball just to keep fans on the edge of their seats. But I stay true. I mean, me and Freddie Hodges, we have done bowl projections since week 1. And I would say up until about week 7, I changed from the Pop-Tarts Bowl to around the Gator Bowl, if not the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And I was hovering right there. And even leading up to bowl selection, I was texting the guys saying, if this happens, Duke's probably here. If this happens, Duke's probably here. And for the most part, everything that I researched and everything that I put out there came true. So at least I'm not some crazy dude in a basement just picking teams or throwing darts at a board going, oh, I think they're going to go here. I missed Pitt going to Detroit to the old Quick Lane Bowl. That was a curveball. And then, of course, Chapel Hill College going to Fenway. I did not have them there. I had them in Tampa for the Gasparilla Bowl.
Here's my question to follow up. Would you have had the teams going 1-9 though?
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, that's all. I mean, we go from the ACC saying, "Hey, we are a relevant conference. Florida State needs to shut up. Like we're here to stay," to going 1-9, and it could be worse.
Yeah, it's bad. I will say I heard from inside the football program. There's a story behind this Gator Bowl thing. Evidently, there was a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about as to how it actually came about. So I don't know if there was some Holiday versus Gator back and forth there, but I've just heard there's definitely a story behind it. So
I'm not trying to pull it, and I'm not saying that you
I
know
don't
it
know
or
what the
not.
story
Yeah,
is.
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if it was Holiday reached out to Duke, and Duke was like, I don't know if we want to go all the way out to San Diego because our fans won't travel.
Well, I do know this. I do know there is an expectation from the bowl games that the athletic departments will sell or buy a certain number of tickets. That's like part of the way this works.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, if you call Duke and say, we're the Holiday Bowl, but you guys have got to sell 15,000 tickets, Duke is probably saying, no, it's not going to happen.
Well, the
So-
biggest problem for the Holiday Bowl was the fact that it was like right there at Christmas, right?
It's
If the
December
Holiday Bowl,
27th. Yeah.
if the Holiday Bowl had been January 2nd, Duke has a ton of like
But
fans out on the West Coast. So like,
It-
I mean,
yeah, and that's what we talked about because we wouldn't have gone to the Holiday Bowl. It's
Yeah.
just the cost, 3,000 miles away, right around Christmas. I think all four of us would have been divorced by the time we got back and landed from San Diego. But to Jamie's point, while there is a heavy fan base out west, those folks could have been back on the East Coast visiting family or somewhere else. So, I just don't think the logistics of it would work for Duke.
I mean, I actually would love to see the ACC get out of that Holiday Bowl contract because it really doesn't make sense. I mean, honestly, it doesn't make sense in San Diego. I mean, maybe now with Cal and SMU and Stanford, but I mean, it doesn't truly make sense.
Yeah, Cal, Stanford cannot play in an ACC bowl until 26. So they've got one more year to where they are a Pac-12 affiliate bowl per the agreement. So
all right, Peter Dodge. He says, I may be in the minority, and I appreciate what our players have done for the program, but I'm perfectly okay trading Jaquez Moore for Star Thomas. I'm perfectly okay trading a healthy Henry Beelan for Malik Murphy. And then he says, my question, what's our thoughts on the Gator Bowl kickoff being cooler than the kickoff at Fenway Park? And I'm like, that's just my life. Like, that's my life right there. 2 days before we get there, it's 2 days before we get there, it's going to be 80 degrees. Like,
So behind the scenes, we're in a group text with the Hard Hat guys with Matt. And when we start talking about bowl destinations, Matt really wanted Charlotte for multiple reasons. And as soon as we were talking about Holiday, Jamie starts in on we're gonna be at the beach. I can't wait to be in my shorts and my t-shirt, blah, 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 blah. And then we start looking at the weather and it's gonna be like 41 degrees, low of 41 degrees on Thursday. So yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. I still say I'd rather be in Florida than be in, definitely than in Boston. That's for sure. And the day before, it'll be warm that Wednesday, which we're going to get in town Wednesday early in the afternoon. So we'll be there for a little bit of the warmer weather on Wednesday. So I'm not complaining about Florida.
and even during the day on Thursday, it's going to be like 60. So it's not terrible. It's just going to be kind of cold, like by the time the game ends. So, but it is what it is.
There
That's
won't be any
that's my
snow
life.
on the ground. There
Yeah,
was
no
snow in center field and right field of the Fenway Bowl. And the other side is, too, that the teams are not on the same sideline. So, that's the one weird part about having the games in the baseball stadiums is both
And
teams are on the same side.
You don't get your angle messed up by the foul pole. That also happened
True.
on TV.
Yeah,
So,
which is also really funny, but
yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
All right, we got one more question. And this is from apparently a relative of mine, Bradley Holt. Not really. Will we be ranked at the beginning of next year's poll? And that's a great question. I mean, if we beat Ole Miss, I mean, Duke has every right to, in my opinion, to be in the top 25 at the start of next year, especially with getting Mensa and everything like that.
if history plays itself out, we're not going to be ranked. I mean, there's still no respect. I mean, not trying to talk future 2025. Schedule's looking decent for Duke with some very tough games. Even if we beat Ole Miss 45-10, we're not going to be ranked next year heading in. I mean, something major would have to happen to the other teams that they would have ranked.
We're
I
the
think that
Rodney
Duke-
Dangerfield of. We're Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, that's just we're not going to get no respect. There's no respect. Duke's not going to get any respect, and it doesn't matter what happens. I mean, Duke could win, and I promise you, if Duke is losing at halftime by a considerable amount, most of America will turn the game off and find something else to watch. The writers won't care. They won't give two craps about it because that's just how the media is. They don't care about Duke football. They're going to be more worried about what happens the next day or 2 days later than the Dallas-Fort Worth area as the other team plays their first road game in SMU.
Yeah, that's basketball for everyone wondering what he was talking about there. But no, here's what I'll say. No, we won't be ranked. But I do think that what has gone on so far in the transfer portal has gotten some people's attention. I mean, and we haven't really talked about it, but I mean, these getting the wide receiver Andrew Anthony from Oklahoma, getting the second wide receiver Cooper Barquette. I'm assuming that's how you say his name, from Harvard. If you look at that dude's numbers, that dude is legit. Running back, kind of a bruising running back from App State that looks like he's just going to be like a dirty work kind of a guy. There a couple of the Sam Houston State safety, the corner. Duke has already done really well, and if you think about it, just rewind. Duke had not signed anybody at this point last year except for Malik Murphy. He was the only one that Duke had signed, and so I do think that Duke can make some noise in this offseason. Doesn't necessarily mean, to Brian's point and to Scott's point, still don't think it'll be enough to be ranked preseason. But hey, NC State was ranked in the preseason this year, so take that for what you will. Shots fired.
That's all she wrote.
Well, I want to thank Jamie for putting all that together. We do want to thank our Iron D sponsor, El Rodeo Mexican Restaurant on North Duke Street in Durham. We want to encourage you, if you're in the mood for a little salsa, as Theo Vaughn calls it, some of that salsa. If you're in the mood for some salsa, some chips, some of that queso, some of that guac, some jarritos, whatever you want, they got it. They got a great room there on the side. If you got a large party, you can have a little private room there at El Rodeo. We want to encourage you to go check them out. They're about 10 to 12 minutes away from campus. Go ahead, some good Mexican food, and let them know that you listen to the Section 17 podcast so they can look at you and not know what you're talking about. But they may tell their manager and their owner, and they will know what you're talking about. So thank you, El Rodeo, for being an Iron D sponsor. For show, Brian. Are you ready, man? You getting ready?
Yeah, final one of the season.
This is it. This is it. The tell the tape we didn't know we were going to need. We don't know who our bowl matchup's going to be. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, pretty sure there's not been a crazy history of Ole Miss, and I will not mention David Cutcliffe because maybe Brian is going to mention David Cutcliffe in the tell the tape. I have no idea. David Cutcliffe, former head coach of the Ole Miss Rebels and of the Duke Blue Devils. And so, Brian, other than that, give us more. Tell the tape.
Here's my tell of the tape with David Cutcliffe. Football. Tell of the tape for the Ole Miss Rebels. Last year, Ole Miss went 11-2 and played in the Peach Bowl, where they were defeated by Penn State 38-25. Now, entering the Gator Bowl, Ole Miss is 9-3 and ranked 16th overall in the AP poll. The last time Ole Miss played was on November 29th when they defeated Mississippi State 26-14 in the famous Egg Bowl. Head coach Lane Kiffin is in his 5th season as Ole Miss head coach with an overall head coaching record of 104-52. Now, before coming to Ole Miss, Kiffin had stops as head coach at FAU, USC, and the infamous job at Tennessee. He also coached the Oakland Raiders in the NFL from 2007 to 2008. Kiffin also had assistant coaching stints at Alabama, USC, and Colorado State. Now, when it comes to this week's Gator Bowl, this is the first ever matchup between Duke and Ole Miss on the gridiron. As a program, Ole Miss has played 11 ACC schools all time and have a 17-10-1 record against those schools. Here's a good tidbit. Ole Miss, before the game on Thursday, has never played Duke, Carolina, or NC State in football. On the flip side, Duke has played 13 SEC schools all time and has a 53-5 record against those 13 schools. Of the 13 SEC schools Duke has played, they have winning records against 3 of those schools. Fellas, you want to take a guess who any of those 3 might be? Anyone?
South Carolina.
I was going to go there.
That's one. Yes, the old SoCon Conference. There's 2 more.
I'm going to say Tennessee.
No, not Tennessee. So you're out. Scott, Jamie?
Georgia.
Nope. You're out.
Vanderbilt.
Arkansas and Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah, those are the 3 schools that Duke.
Rick Pitino.
They still hate Leitner. Those are the 3 SEC schools that Duke has a winning record against. Now, Duke has played an SEC school 3 times in bowl games, and they are 2-1 overall. So hopefully Duke can go 3-1. They played Alabama in the 1944 Sugar Bowl, and they won 29-26. They played Arkansas, who we just mentioned, in the 1960 Cotton Bowl and won 7-6. And then, of course, we all remember they played Texas A&M in Atlanta for the 2013 Chick-fil-A Bowl. The guys were there. I was a little inebriated after halftime and don't remember the second half. Should have won that game, but we'll just leave it at that. And now it's time.
I think Anthony Boone was actually also inebriated at halftime. Sorry.
It's the last one. It's fine. But now it's time for Did You Know? Ole Miss started their football program in 1893, almost 50 years after the University of Mississippi was founded. The football team was the first football program started in the state of Mississippi. Since that time, there have only been 2 seasons where Ole Miss did not field a football team. The first was in 1897 during the yellow fever epidemic, and the second was in 1943 due to World War II. Now, the team nickname Rebels was not what the team was originally called. Before then, the team had been called the Red and Blue due to the team's colors, and for a short time, the Mississippi Flood, after the Great Flood of 1927. After a local sports writer had suggested the team be called the Mudcats in 1936, the school newspaper at University of Mississippi decided to have a contest where the Southern sports writers would submit name suggestions for the team. After 200 names were submitted, the final 5 were voted on amongst 21 of the local writers. After all was said and done, the name Rebels was picked by 18 of the 21 writers. The name had been suggested by Judge Ben Guider of Vicksburg, and when the final approval was sent to the university's athletic committee, they did not object. Said then committee chairman Judge William Hemingway, apparently judges were prominent in sports committees, quote, "If 18 sports writers wish to use Rebels, I shall not rebel. So let it go, Ole Miss Rebels." And that was the tale of the tape for the Ole Miss Rebels of the SEC. Josh?
The Ole Miss Flood. I'm gonna be calling them that. Let's go Flood.
The Ole Miss, that was the Mudcats. The Ole Miss Mudcats. We know about that.
We do that. They're like a minor league football team. But no, that's awesome. That is awesome. Well, listen, we are looking forward to being down there in Jacksonville this week. If you're going to be in Jacksonville, we want to remind you that we are going to be tailgating beginning at 2:30 in the afternoon on Thursday in the J lot. You will see our tent. Jamie, we were trying to not bring our tent, and Jamie refused. He said, we will be bringing our Duke Football Talk tent. So we will have the tent. Well, you'll see that. You'll see the hard hat guys. You probably won't see their bus. I know you can't.
I can't wait to set that thing up. Like it's just calling me. Like,
it's incredible. But you'll see us. There's going to be a lot of Duke people there in the J lot. There's also an official tailgate as well. So if you wherever, just find Duke fans and hang out. But we'd love to see you. Come hang out. and let us know that you're going to be there, and we would love to see you for sure. We're going to do some predictions next. When we do our final closing podcast after the bowl game, Brian's going to announce who our winner was for our stat predictions, and we'll be giving you, I believe it's a $50 gift card, if I'm not mistaken, is what we give. Is that what it is? Or a helmet?
Custom Section 17 helmet made by yours truly.
That's right. Even better. Even better. Got my nephew hooked on mini helmets this week, this past week for Christmas. He's a Detroit Lions fan. Got him hooked. So anyway, we will announce that next week for our show. So we're gonna do predictions. Yep. Give us the numbers. I know it's gone 17.5.
Yeah, it's abysmal. Yeah. Right now, Duke is a 17-point underdog, and the over/under, which I found very low, 51.5 points based off my information that I found. I'll go ahead and get started since I'm unmuted. Ole Miss averages 37.5 points a game heading into the Gator Bowl. Duke averages 28 points a game heading into the Gator Bowl. So that's why I found it odd that the over/under was only 51.5. I've done it all year long. I got to be a realist. If Jackson Dart is playing, if Lane Kiffin's not playing mind games with Duke and the fan base, I see Ole Miss being the better team. I think it's still going to be a close game, but in the end, I've got Ole Miss winning 35-28 in a close one. Again, prove me wrong, Duke football. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, make me eat crow for our season finale episode. I'll be more than happy to. Now, as far as the jersey goes, let me just give a shout out to Wes and Chris and the Duke football equipment staff. They have been phenomenal this year. They have brought back some goodies that we have not seen for a while. They brought some helmets that we never thought we'd see, like this bad boy right here for the NC State game. So I'm hopeful that they will either bring back one of the helmets that was introduced this year or the Hellraiser. Based off what I saw, and I retweeted it, Ole Miss is going blue, red, white for their combination. That's their typical, I believe, home outfit and attire. And I tweeted it earlier. I see it coming. I think it's going to be there. I think we're going to go black, white, black, my all-time favorite combo, and it will be with the Duke Gothic that we wore against NC State. So again, Ole Miss 35-28, black, white, black. Who wants to go next?
All right, I'll bite the bullet. Yeah, I'm going to be the homer. Got to be. That's just what I do. If Duke's going to win the game, it's going to have to be a close game. It's going to be a lower scoring game. If it becomes a shootout, I do not like Duke's chances, just because Ole Miss, I mean, they're good. Let's be honest. Their offense is really good. I think Duke will be fine. Duke can go down to score early, kind of take a little doubt out of the stadium a little bit for the boys wearing blue, the people wearing blue in the stands. I'm going to go with the combo though first. I'm kind of like, I agree with Brian as far as the black, white, black, because I just feel like it's different. Helmet, I mean, let's just not mess with it. Let's just go ahead and throw the Hellraiser on there. It's worked every other time. Let's go ahead and use it again. As far as score, I'm going to say 26-23 Duke. I don't know where that number comes from. I'm just going to stay there in that ballpark. And just for the record, hey, if John Gresham, if you happen to be there at the game, come to the Duke tailgate, man. Say hello to us, because he's one of the greatest writers of all time, and I love his books. And most of his movies, books have turned into movies, and they've been great. So, shout out to him. That's the only Ole Miss guy I really like, just for the record.
Favorite book, Scott, of his?
Oh, I got you.
A Time to Kill.
That's
That is one of my all-time favorite movies. And Samuel Jackson did a great job, and so did Matthew McConaughey. All right. UT guy.
Jamie, go ahead, because Josh had already claimed to go last. Gotta unmute. There we go.
Let's see. Jersey combo. I'll go black, black, white. Black, black, white. I'm not even sure if we've ever even wore that.
We can't. We have to wear white. We have to wear white shirts because we're the
White shirt. Yeah.
All right,
White
so
shirt.
Jamie's out.
Well, hell, I'll go. No, I'm okay. I'll go blue, white, black because that's hideous. No, yeah, I'll go blue, white, black. Why not? Everybody else said black, white, black. It's fine. Whatever. White. I don't know. The Duke script. Whatever. I don't care. Just wear something. It's fine. Just wear something. I'll be there. I'll be wearing something as well. Probably my Duke hoodie with the Gothic script.
Get to
maybe.
your prediction. God.
As I said before, I think Duke leaves it all out there. I don't think they get blown out. But I gotta go with Ole Miss. I think I'll go Ole Miss 34, Duke 24. I think Duke keeps it close, and it's a pretty close game throughout, but Ole Miss scores late to seal it.
All right. Brian, where's that mini helmet at again? Put it up there. I'm gonna go with that helmet. I'm gonna go with the NC State look one with that helmet, the white tops and the black bottoms. That's what I'm gonna go with. And then, y'all know, I gotta go with our boys. You know, I'm sure Brian will want to put this out there on Twitter so we can all get made fun of if and when we get our butt kicked. But Duke wins. Henry Beelan is carried off as a god in Duke history. We score
King
somehow
Henry,
on
that
special
is.
teams.
King
King
Henry.
Henry the Fourth. We score somehow on special teams, whether it's a kickoff return, a punt return, or some sort of something on special teams. And we just get fortunate, man. We get fortunate. We win the game 30-28. 30-28. Duke. By the way, Brian, before we move on, shout out to the old Infinity Portal lit up Section 17 sign in the background, courtesy of former Duke running back Jalen Coleman, who, if you remember, was injured last season but came on at the end of the year. And in fact, in the Birmingham Bowl, was had the touchdown and really was the main ball carrier there. Jalen's an awesome guy, friend of the pod. Infinity-portal.org, and you can get a custom LED sign. That thing, like, I don't know if Brian can do it on command here, but that thing changes colors. It'll dance. It'll do whatever. I don't know, Brian. Are you that comfortable with the app yet?
You're gonna have to keep talking, but yeah, I mean, I've got to get my phone close.
Keep looking. If you're on YouTube, you can see it in the background. There, it'll probably be it'll change here in a minute, but
yeah, it's connecting. Keep talking.
Hey,
yeah.
I would like to change my uniform predictions.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna go to, Jamie?
I'm gonna go with black, white, black with the
with
the Gothic script.
Hey, it makes my job easier.
So,
right. Yeah, it's acting up. It's not letting me.
It's all good, but pretty cool. You can do like different themes. You can do a Christmas theme. You can do like whatever with it. You can get that smaller one, which is the one we got. There's also a double one, a bigger one that you can get. But if you have any questions or would like one, let us know. We'd love to refer you over to Jalen, and he can hook you up for sure. Anything we're missing, guys? J-Lot, we're in Jacksonville. We'll be hanging out. The whole crew's going to be there. Producer, photographer, sponsor,
field roamer,
fill in host.
Yeah, fill in host.
We got the whole squad down there.
Do we know if Freddie's coming with Duke?
I don't know.
Okay.
So do this if you're listening on YouTube. Hit in the comments. Let us know if you're going to be there. Let us know if you'll be at the game. We want to make sure we see as many people as possible. And who knows? Maybe we'll bring a little something for us, and maybe we'll give away something. Who knows? We'll figure something out. We're feeling generous. It's the new year. So, anything we're missing, guys?
I owe Brian cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got my money?
Yeah,
I do want to.
Brian may have an additional mini helmet to give away if Jamie doesn't
Yeah.
bring cash.
Yeah, so be on the lookout. If I'm roaming around and just holding one of these things in my hand, you might want to ask me if it's for sale. Did the CFO not approve the transaction, Jamie?
got declined. Car got declined.
I will say, if you bought one of the helmets that I made, thank you. I appreciate the business. I've got nothing but good reviews. My goal is to bring you guys stuff that is not offered to the general public. And for those of you that have asked, it will probably be right around spring ball that I might have another batch of helmets coming out. So just be on the lookout. I usually post on Twitter and Twitter alone. But other than that, another great episode is in the books. We've got one more, guys, one more for the season. It will be our post-bowl reaction episode and our thank you episode. And hopefully we will have some positive thoughts, positive times next week as we get ready. But that'll do it for this episode of the Section 17 podcast. As Josh said, if you're going to be in Jacksonville, let us know. Tweet us, Facebook message us, just call us, text us if you have our numbers. We look forward to seeing as many of you as possible. Duke is going to need it against one of their biggest opponent in many years, one in Ole Miss. But for Josh Cox, for Scott Medlin, for Jamie Holt, and producer Tyler Witt, I'm Brian Kennedy, and this has been another episode of the Duke Football Talk Section 17 podcast.
Bye.